Hello, class. This is week 5. I'm recording this, and I just want to let you know I will be watching your videos this week. It does take me a little bit of time because of the length of the videos, so please be patient. I will get to them. I thank you for those who have been willing to help others in the class that are maybe running a little short on participation with maybe people they may know. So I appreciate that tremendously. So thank you so much. We're going to be talking about the initial phase and the transitional phase of group, which you got to experience in leading your own groups, right? So initial phase is the very beginning portion, right? You're getting acquainted with how the group works. There's periods of silence and awkwardness. People are still getting comfortable. Low risk at this point. We're not quite trusting others yet. It's a lot of learning and growing at this stage. We're looking at trust versus mistrust during this stage. People are worried about feeling anxious, feeling rejected, afraid of appearing stupid, not knowing what to expect, especially if this is their first kind of psychoeducational type group or rehab group. It can be very nerve-wracking. So as a leader, we want to make sure we're trying to help people feel comfortable. We want to make sure that we show a level of investment and trust in the group. And so that's where we might be doing tasks to help build trust and establish some sort of rapport amongst each other. Those are some things that you can do during this time. Making sure we're doing really well with our basic attending skills, which is, genuinely listening, showing empathy, reassurance, respect, caring confrontation. We want to be mindful of the people who tend to already mow over everybody else or overly share, maybe trying to control some of that stuff from the beginning so it doesn't become like a reoccurring issue. Those are things that you're going to be looking for. Making sure we're very clear on our goals and that it's a group process. We want to make sure everybody's on board. So being very clear with what our expectations are. We want people to be on time, be regular attenders, being meaningful in how they share. We want people to be supportive and challenging of one another and stay focused on the here and now. Okay, so those are some things to be mindful in the initial stage. In the transition of a stage, so going to the transitional stage, we're moving out of the initial phase of kind of like the getting to know you awkwardness, all the little jitters to now I'm starting to feel more comfortable. I might be revealing more of myself at this point. I'm maybe more willing to expose some maybe hardships I have or situations I have. So some people will really struggle with an unwillingness to share. And what I even say to my individual clients is you're only going to get out of this what you put into it. And so if people aren't willing to push through hard, uncomfortable things, then they're only going to get so much out of group. And so that's something to be mindful of. There's going to be patterns that you'll see, maybe some problematic behaviors that are patterns that you're going to see. So we want to be ready to confront that. During a transition stage, anxiety and defensiveness are common because people, again, are still getting to know others, don't maybe like to be told what someone may think of what the behavior is. So there's all that kind of stuff going on. They might test the leader and other members to determine how safe the environment is. Struggling between wanting to play it safe and risk getting involved. Observe the leader to determine his or her trustworthiness and learn how to express themselves so that others will listen. When there's low level of trust, members may show up late, leave early, be reluctant to participate, unwilling to initiate personal and meaningful work, deny that they have any problems or concerns, hide behind goal statements and intellectualizations, which you might even see some people that will hide behind trying to be advice giving for someone else or things of that nature, which can be real annoying. We're not interested in that. We want people to be genuine and real for themselves, right? But those are things that could happen. Deny that they have any problems or concerns, be unwilling to deal with conflict in the group. And so these are things for us to be mindful of. Common fears emerging in this phase is emptiness, losing control, being too emotional, people really fear being emotional. They fear losing the control of their emotions, right, in front of other people. Um, the vulnerability that's attached with that, right? Making themselves look foolish, taking too much of the group's time, being judged. Those are things people are fearful of. Um, and so we want to make sure that we have a way of confronting people. Confront if you care about the other, talk more about yourself than the other person, avoid dogmatic statements and judgments about the other, give others space to reflect on what you say to them, letting people process. Um, Difficult members. You're going to run into difficult members just like we run into difficult people on a regular basis, whether they be in our family or in our personal circles. Dealing with difficult behaviors, so avoid responding with sarcasm, which for some of you this might be difficult. Encourage members to explore their defensiveness. We want our members to look into why they're being the way they are. Maybe it's projection. Maybe you remind them of somebody. Maybe a group member reminds them of somebody. I think in your Yalom book, there talks about like when Yalom did led a group of women for like a incest survivor type group, and all of them were females and he was the only male, so there was a lot of projection towards him as being the only male. Find ways to explore the conflict rather than retreating from it, and as we model this, it's good for our clients to see that, because they can see conflict can be dealt with in a healthy manner, which is really beneficial for clients. And then we don't want to we don't want to make it personal. It is like what it is. It's not all about you. It may be not even about you. It might just be the way you talk or something. Remind somebody of somebody. So problematic styles. So silence, right? Passive aggressiveness, giving advice, dependency, questioning, storytelling, offering pseudo support, hostile behavior, acting better than other people, trying to overthink people or overtalk people by using big words, just socializing, and member becoming assistant leaders aren't good. Then you have concerns of favoritism and things like that, and that's the last thing you need in a group setting. So dealing with defensive behavior therapeutically, so working with a challenging group member, then fighting with them. We want to work with them. We're not trying to, if you're going to fight with them, that might be what they want, and that's not beneficial. Leaders' response should provide encouragement for members to say more rather than stopping, right? We want to encourage conversation, talking about things, and questions should be open-ended, presented in an invitational manner versus closed-ended questions. That's beneficial for even individual therapy, things of that nature. Dealing with avoidance that could come up in a transitional phase, and it could be based on like a trust fracture, or maybe this group has a hard time trusting, or no one's really opened up yet, so nobody wants to be the first one to open up, things of that nature. So we can address what's going on, point out the elephant in the room. If I were to tell you right now, think of elephants, and then tell you, don't think of elephants, more than likely all you're going to think about is elephants. And so sometimes in a situation when we are trying not to talk about it, and that's all we think about. And so we want to bring these things to the surface, refuse to give up, and not indulge in feelings of frustration and annoyance, or give in. Like, don't give in to what the group is portraying, but like push through. We can do hard things, push through. And then we have to be mindful of transference, countertransference. So transference is feelings clients project onto the counselor, which are rooted in the member's past relationships. This happens often. Countertransference is when counselors project their own unresolved conflicts onto a client and can be damaging for members. Now, there can be sometimes a benefit to some level of transference, but you have to make sure that you are in a place of, if you are sharing about something that is personal to you, that it is relevant to the group. That's very important. We want to make sure whatever we're doing, that it makes sense for the group as a whole. Okay. I know I ran through this quickly. I think as leaders, we have to be mindful to really not take things personally. Because if we make it personal, that's how we get defensive and lose sight of the group. So we just have to be mature and push through maybe difficult people or people trying to challenge us, so that they can get away with maybe dealing like with their own things. But I think most importantly, we just have to be mindful that like people are people, and their wounds and hurts are very real to them. And as a result of their wounds and hurts, they may want to hurt others. Hurt people, right? And so as the clinicians, we have to be the adults about it and handle it in a way where we're not shying away from it, but we're also not here to get into a fist fight with somebody, right? Like that's not beneficial. So just to be finding that balance is important. I think confronting things is important because group members need to see that we can have healthy conflict and work through it. So don't be afraid. Don't be hesitant. Talk with your supervisor if you're nervous, but that would be the best approach. Okay, I look forward to watching your videos. You have a midterm due this week, so just be mindful of that. Talk to you later.